Good day, everyone. I hope you're all energetic and ready for another day. Today's lesson is Module 4, Song, Part 2. Our learning objectives today are: number 1, identify the rule of the modal verb have to with both the obligation and the lack of necessity. And number 2, use the have to rule in all forms: affirmative, negative, and question in speaking and writing. All right, are you ready? Let's go. As you all know, you should have your books open and ready. The student book should be open on page 43, and the workbook should be open on page 36. Okay, let's start our lesson. Read these sentences and tell me, what do you notice? I have to study hard. He has to go to university to become a doctor. Do you have to visit your cousins? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Does he have to buy a camera to become a photographer? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. What do I have to do to become a reporter? You have to go to university. What do you notice here? That's right. The common verb we have is have to. And we used it in which tense? That's right. We used it in the present tense. Very good. Now, we used have to here in the affirmative, as in have to or has to, and also in the negative, like don't or don't have to, and finally in the question, starting with does or what, do, and have to. All right. Now we come to a very important question. When do we use have to? I'll tell you. We use have to express obligation when something is necessary in the present or the future. It shows obligation based on facts, not on the speaker's opinion or feelings. We form it by adding the base form to the verb after have to. We use don't have to express lack of obligation when something is not necessary in the present or future. We form it by adding the base form to the verb after don't have to. So what do we get from that? That in the affirmative form, we use have to when something that is necessary. We have to do it, necessary, okay? And in the negative form, it's unnecessary. We don't have to do it. It's not that important, okay? Now let's move on to the formation of have to in sentences. We all know that have to is one of the modal verbs, right? So now we're going to use have to in the affirmative form. And of course, if we're forming an affirmative sentence, it means it's a regular one. So how do we start it? Yes, that's right. We start with the subject. And after that, we add have to. And because it's a modal verb, we need to add the base form of the verb. What do we mean by the base form of the verb? That's right. We don't add any letters in the end of the verb, like s, ed, or ing. Now let's see how. With the pronouns I, you, we, and they, we use the verb have to as it is. But with the pronouns he, she, and it, we form it in the present form, so it changes to has to. Okay? And after that, we add the base form of the verb, like wake up, for example, and there you go. Let's see the example together. I have to wake up early for school, as you can see. All right, very good. Now, what about using the verb have to in the negative form? Whenever we say negative, two words pop in our head. What are they? That's right, not and the helping verb do, because it's the present, of course. Now let's see how to form it. Again, how do we start? That's right, with the subject. And after that, we put the verb do in the present form, plus not, plus have to. So the verb do is the one used in the present form, not have to, okay? And after that, we use, of course, the base form of the verb. Let's see how. With the pronouns I, you, we, and they, we're going to add, usually, like we do not have to or don't have to. But with the pronouns he, she, and it, don't changes into doesn't or does not have to. All right? And finally, we add the base form of the main verb. Let's see the example together. He doesn't have to take a jacket. The weather is nice. And of course, this is not necessary, and that's why we had doesn't have to. Okay? All right, let's practice together. Use the prompts and the pictures to form correct sentences using have to or has to. Now, take a look at these prompts. We have Jenny, clear, and desk. We, do, and homework. And number 3, they go to football practice every day. Now, try to form sentences using have to or has to. Pause the video for a bit, answer, and then check with me. All right, let's see. Number 1, Jenny has to clear her desk. Number 2, we have to do our homework. And number 3, they don't have to go to football practice every day. Very good, everyone. That's easy, right? Now let's move on to the next part of our lesson. Okay, now let's move on to trying to form the verb have to in the question form. When I say question, which word comes to mind? That's right, the verb do. Now let's see together how to start our question. Very nice. We start with the verb do itself. After that, we add the subject and then have to plus the base form of the main verb. Let's see in details how to do it. We start with the verb do, of course, in capital letter. And what are the subjects that go with the verb do? That's right, I, you, we, and they. Now, what about the verb does with es, do plus es? What are the subjects or the pronouns that go with it? Awesome, very good. He, she, and it. What do we do after this? That's right, have to plus the main verb wake up in the base form. Okay, are we done here? Are we forgetting something? That's right, we're forgetting the question mark, of course. Now, let's see our example. Does he have to do the project? Does he have to do the project? Remember, start with a capital letter, end in a question mark. Now, when I say, does he have to do the project? How do we answer that? Okay, I'll tell you. When you start the question with a verb like do or does, the answer must be yes or no. Let's see an example. Does he have to do the project? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Easy, right? So far, so good, right? Now, is there any other way to ask using have to? I'll tell you. We can use WH words at the beginning of questions with have to ask something more specific, like specific information. For example, what do you have to do to become a teacher? The answer will be, you have to go to university. So we're giving information, not answering with yes or no. Okay, let's see together how. We start with the WH word, like for example, what or who, where, why, when, and so on. Okay, after that, we add the verb do, and then the subject, which is a pronoun, of course. And then after that, you put have to plus the base form of the verb. Is that it? Well, good job, you remember. Of course, don't forget the question mark. Nice. Let's see the example. When do I have to hand in the research? The answer will be, you have to hand it in by next Sunday. Easy, right? Then, let's practice. Form questions using the sentences below. As you can see here, we have number 1, he has to work in the evening. Number 2, you have to study for the test. And number 3, Andy has to help his mom. Pause the video and form your own questions and then check with me. All right, let's see our answers. Number 1, does he have to work in the evening? Number 2, what do I have to do to pass the test? And number 3, does Andy have to help his mom? Great job. I'm so proud of you. All right, to sum everything up, I need you guys to open the student's book, page 71. Take a look at this. So in the affirmative form, we need to use either have to or has to plus the base form of the verb. But in the negative form, we're going to use don't or doesn't before have to. In the question form, on the other hand, we start with do or does, and then we put the subject and then have to, and so on. And do you remember what we said about answering with do or does as a question word? That's right, we answer with yes or no. So this is basically our lesson. Very easy, right? Time to practice. Let's go to the workbook, page 36, exercise number 2. Read and complete, use have to. The first one is done as an example. Let's see. Number 1, you brush your teeth before you go to bed. We know that you is the subject and it's a normal sentence, so we use it in the affirmative form. Have to brush. Very good. Now, pause the video for a bit, finish the rest, and then check with me later. All right, time to check. Let's see. Number 2, Mona has to sleep early tonight because tomorrow is Sunday. Number 3, A, do I have to tidy my room now? B, yes you do. Your cousins are going to visit us. Number 4, the students have to learn a new language in year 4. Number 5, A, does Anna have to type fast to become a secretary? B, yes she does. Lastly, number 6, A, do Jerry and Phil have to do their homework for tomorrow? B, no, they don't. Super. Awesome job, everyone. Great. Now let's move on to exercise 3 on the same page. We have the question, read and answer about yourself. In this one, I'd like for you guys to answer about your own experiences with these questions. Number 1, do you have to learn a language at school? What do you think you need to answer? Number 2, what do you have to do in the morning? This is about your own experience, your own opinion. Number 3, do you have to do your homework after school? You tell me. Number 4, do your parents have to work at the weekend? Now, pause the video, answer on your own, and then let's see if we have similar answers later. Okay, let's see. Number 1, do you have to learn a language at school? Well, yes, I do. I have to learn English at my school. Number 2, what do you have to do in the morning? Well, for me, I have to pray in the morning. Number 3, do you have to do your homework after school? Of course, yes, I do. Number 4, do your parents have to work at the weekend? Well, no, they don't. Well, did you get the same ideas and the same answers as me? Great job, everyone. Well, that's all for today's lesson. I hope it was easy and fun. I'll see you guys next time.